It's true. It's true. The very best things in all of life are the things that are beyond your mind. And you might not really know what this is even. You may be like, dude, what's beyond my mind? First thing that we could say that is one of the best things in life that is beyond your mind is enlightenment or awakening. I love this phrase, samadhi or awakening is always sweeter than an orgasm. So in other words, if you think an orgasm is good, it's not even that good. And maybe you have like insane orgasms, maybe. But I would still suggest that an awakening is way sweeter. And to be honest, sweet isn't always the best way to describe it. In fact, there's a lovely phrase which is like, truth is an acquired taste. So you might not always like the taste of truth. You might not always like what enlightenment reveals to you. But, you know, at the same time, maybe you do, maybe you will. If you're similar to me, you probably do like it. You probably do. In fact, you definitely do. You know, you've learned to enjoy truth and enlightenment. And you know, this is why you have wisdom. You know that it's beyond the mind. So you don't try to get it with the mind. Maybe you did for a while, like I did. Definitely, man. Like, that's how you do it. You try to get it with the mind and you realize, oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, man. Because then, like, when you get it, or when you experience truth or enlightenment, or even just any kind of awakening, you're like, my mind isn't here in the same way that it was. Right. Enlightenment is beyond my mind. Fuck. Right. But it doesn't stop there, man. It's like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever experienced. Yeah? You'll like it so much that you'll remember, oh, wow, the best things, they are beyond my mind. And so what do you do with this exactly, man? Well, what you can do if you want to is make your life, set it up in a way where you can experience things beyond your mind regularly. You know, earlier today, man, I was reading in a fasted state. And I'd done some meditation earlier and like a nice little peaceful walk. And I was having quite a spiritual experience. And I was like, this is beyond my mind. I'm feeling spirit. And I labeled that. And it's important to label it. Because when you label it, it helps you to develop understanding. You know? You're just trying to understand this stuff more. It's really like abstract. It's really, literally beyond your mind. So of course, you have to do your best to try and, understand it. But you don't try and, put it in a little box. No, gently and gradually label things, piece things together, interconnect things. Use intuition to understand things instantaneously. But if you don't label something and call it out and make a distinction, like, right, that's beyond my mind. Let me remember that. And let me remember that was way better than like anything else I've ever experienced. Same thing with meditation. In fact, as our next one, meditation, beyond the mind. If you're meditating properly, you are going beyond the mind. And you probably notice, man, why do I feel so happy when I meditate? Why do I feel so peaceful and complete and happy? You might even think like, my God, like when I meditate is the only time I really feel happy. God. But ideally, you want to let that, really you want to be meditating kind of always, if you know what I mean. You want to be mindful always, as much as you can. Kind of hard sometimes, Anyway, for a lot of people that I've spoken to, man, they don't go beyond the mind. And so they perceive meditation as this thing, this kind of like tool to kind of like quiet their mind and help them be more productive and stuff. But this isn't really true meditation, is it, man? Nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just not the full utilization of the tool, which is meditation. And it's not even really a tool, it's just like truth. Because when you meditate and meditation itself collapses into just, I'm not even meditating, I'm just being, then you've gone beyond your mind. And then you're like, oh, right. So you use meditation as a boat to cross the river, and then you don't need the boat anymore. I can't remember how people say that. I mean, you can do all kinds of things to drop in deeper, but I mean, one of them is surrender. And that's going to be our next one. So surrender also happens beyond the mind. Sometimes I see people misusing this word. They're not really using this word as it can be used, which is in a spiritual context. Surrender is the final thing you ever do in life. You can do it now, but it's surrendering. You're just giving yourself up. That's really the true context for surrender, that word. It's saying you're either going to give part of yourself up, like I'm going to surrender this bad habit, I'm going to surrender that. Or really, it's I'm going to surrender myself. If you're having regular ceremonies, you're going to be surrendering yourself. Of course you are. And you know what this is. Like, my God, surrendering is just, like, it's essential, really. You can't do anything without it, especially important things. When I'm doing public speaking, the first thing I do is I center myself and I surrender myself. I surrender my mind. You could say myself remains, but if I didn't surrender my mind, I'm not going to be speaking from the right place. So if you want to know how to go beyond your mind and experience the goodness of that which lies beyond your mind, surrender. Surrender. Absolutely, man. Oh, you got to remember that one. Okay, that's coming back for you. That will come back and you're like, oh, right, fucking surrender. Man, the next thing that is one of the best things. In fact, you know what, man? This is the best thing, I think. I know. It's not that I think. I know. The best thing in all of life, and it's really even beyond life, is God. And God is definitely beyond your mind. Now, if you wanted to, you could say that God is mind with a big M, a capital M, big M mind, meaning absolute mind, because God is an infinite mind. But the chances are, as a human, you're going to have, your human mind in the way, preventing you from experiencing God. Now, just a note on this. Notice, when I tell you about God, always do your best to notice what happens. And notice how you're not experiencing what I'm talking about, probably. Unless you are. What's probably happening is you're taking in with your mind a concept of God. Like, you can do that, and that's what I would do if I was hearing it. But what you can do, which is what I would recommend, is try to feel into the word God, as opposed to just like being like, oh yeah, God. Oh yeah, I know that guy. No. Well, see, God is so infinite that, like, it's definitely not your idea of it. You know that, right? So I tell you that because I can feel the limitation when I say the word God. It's like, there's like a little voice in me that says, like, make sure that you don't misunderstand it. Do you see what's happening? I'm using a word, but by definition you're not getting it because that which you're using to process it doesn't get it because it's too finite. God is infinite. But anyway, this is good for us. You know why? Because that finite thing, which is your mind, that's what you give up. That's what you surrender to access God and experience God. And you might be like, dude, can I even access God as a human? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. It's great. And understand that there's different levels to it. So I would say right now even, I'm experiencing a level or certain state of God. It's not a crazy high state, to be honest with you. Pretty human. But it's definitely more conscious than, say, one of my lower experiences, or even just a lower baseline of mine, or how I used to kind of experience reality just a couple of years ago. I feel God more, much more. And sometimes I feel God a lot more. And that's nice. In fact, it's so nice I actually probably on the top of my list, like on my phone, I have like a notes app, and at the very top, I write my biggest love. I can't remember how I phrase it, but it's like, I think it is, my biggest love is God. And I wrote that when I was super clear, and it doesn't always like land. It doesn't always resonate like super deep. But I remember when I wrote it. I remember what caused me to have that insight and to write it down at the very top, to remind me, like, wow, the thing that I really love more than anything in the whole world, well, God is beyond the world, but you know what I mean, is God. And when you love God that much, it just makes life really easy, because God is truth, and God is reality, and God is you, and God is everything. And, you know, I know that some people will be hearing this in a religious way. That's all right. It's not what I'm saying, but, you know, you can interpret this any way you want. And then we'll do one more, man. So the final thing that is one of the best things in all of life. It's not even all of life, is it? It's just in reality, actually. But still, one of the best things that exists, that is beyond your mind, is love. Love with a capital L, absolute love. Yes. That's a yes. You know, I knew when I was going to shoot this video, I was either going to say two words, God or love. You know, in the context of speaking about stuff that's beyond your mind, for me, those are the two that pop up immediately. And those are the two like deepest ones. So love. That's right. So here's a concrete way of understanding this as well. Think about it, man. If you really love someone, you have to go beyond your mind. Because your mind is real, pure selfishness. But here's the thing. Selfishness isn't bad. It's just the way it is. Selfishness is an observation. You're seeing the mind for what it is. The ego mind just is selfish. And the more spiritually developed that you are, the more cool you are with it just being the way it is. Because that is reality. Is your mind not selfish? No, of course it is. So to love someone or to love something like your dog or something, notice that you have to go beyond your mind. You have to go beyond that part of yourself. Because love, real love, is absolutely unconditional. Whereas you know that your mind is like super conditional with its love. It doesn't even love ever, actually, really. It just has preferences. But that's literally the opposite of love. Because love is the dissolution of all preferences. Love is just total acceptance of reality and realizing that everything is one and the same thing. That's love. And that love is here right now, whether you are aware of it or not, is here, man. And to access it, you know what you do? You already know. You go beyond your mind. So if right now you're in your mind, or you can hear some thoughts or whatever in a dialogue, focus your mind, slow it down, tune in, and notice that you can feel love that is beyond mind. That's experiencing what we're talking about. And if you feel like you can't really do that right now, honestly, man, that's totally okay. Love exists anyway. And love, which is the universe, which is God, loves you anyway. So even if you're stuck, even if you're in your mind, or your energy is off, or your presence is off, it doesn't really matter. Firstly, because you'll come back. And secondly, God, or love, loves you anyway. It's just you, as the universe, having fallen asleep a little bit. Happens to me every day. Every day, man. You know? So, if you can't access love beyond the mind, don't worry about it. And then when you don't worry about it, you kind of get it a bit more, you know? So, I challenge you to invest in yourself to be able to experience more of this goodness and these spiritual experiences which happen beyond the mind. Because I know that I would want the person that I learn from to say, dude, don't be going over there or doing this. No. Like, do you want the best thing in the universe? Of course you do. Go for that. And what is that? It's beyond your mind. Okay. If you are interested in spending more time with me on a one-to-one basis, I do offer coaching. If you are interested in that, if that would benefit you, you can see the link in the description, my dear friend. Otherwise, man, take care. Lots of love. And as always, man, peace.